Back in action after a break for some more kitchen table astronomy with Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hameed, Mr. Universe, who's also part of Kainaat Studios, which we will talk about in a little bit because there is an interesting astronomical thing that many people across the globe will experience, and Kainaat, specifically for South Asia, but also many different languages trying to bring astronomy to the people. I will say, though, that as a board member of Amherst Cinema, I spent 2 separate days of my vacation at Amherst Cinema as part of the Kurosawa Film Festival, which was fantastic. I saw Throne of Blood, which is Kurosawa's take on Macbeth. I was kind of hoping he would change the story up a little bit, but he didn't. It's the exact same story, except for a couple small details. But High and Low, incredible movie, and I'm excited to see Spike Lee's take on it with his highest to lowest, which is his interpretation of High and Low. So cool on Amherst Cinema.
Absolutely. And there is also other classic series also going on. I saw Playtime, the Jack Tati film, and that was phenomenal. And again, it's a movie that is hard to see at home because there is so much stuff happening. The entire screen is filled up. It's about sort of like a little bit with sort of like, modern life in the 60s and American tourist going there too. So really fantastic. So if you get a chance, I'm not saying that just because I'm on the board of the Amherst Cinema, but that's incredible stuff that is available over there. Go and see. There's a classic series.
The Hong Kong Movie Festival series coming up pretty soon. I've only seen one of them, and I watch Kung Fu movies like they're going out of style, which they have.
As soon as I saw the trailer for that, I was like, I actually took a picture right over there, because texted it to Monte. I was like, your name is written.
I would have to skip my Kung Fu classes to see them. That's my only conundrum. But anyway, we're here to talk about a couple of different things. Should we start with the thing happening in our area this weekend? The Arcadia Folk Festival is happening at Arcadia in East Hampton. It is both a benefit for this conservation area and a wonderful folk music festival with all sorts of great musicians playing there, like Amy Helm and our friends in Cloudbelly. We'll have one of the musicians performing on Friday for Live Music Friday on our show. But specifically, you wanted to highlight the headliner, Josh Ritter, because he's got a wonderful song about stargazing.
So first of all, Josh Ritter is an outstanding storyteller. The first time I saw him was at Iron Horse, and after his album Hello Starling had come out, and I was just blown away by that.
If you didn't know, too, Josh Ritter was a big name, but he got his start in Northampton at the Iron Horse and with Signature Sounds, a Northampton-based record label.
And I mean, he's a great storyteller. He has a lively personality, bubbly personality, I would say. It's hard to resist. He's extremely charming.
He's a hunk, too.
Well, that's true. And one of his songs I really liked in terms of storytelling, because he does bring in occasionally science. And it's not that, the accurate science and things like that, because I'm not going to do what Neil deGrasse Tyson does, for example. The science is inaccurate or not. No, I mean, his songs, when he brings out some of those things, it's still about feeling, sort of like, how you get the right thing. And so if you haven't heard the song The Curse, which was about a mummy that comes to life. And there is
which is totally scientific, by the way. We all know that Egyptian mummies are cursed and do come to life.
And also do see the video, which is a beautiful, I would say, stop motion.
Puppetry is of some sort, yeah, but I think kind of stop motion, yeah.
Do check it out. But his new album, which hasn't been released yet, but a couple of songs are out. And one of the songs is called Truth is a Dimension, Both Invisible and Blinding. And it's a beautiful song. So go and check it out. And it mentions System 611, a Magellanic cluster. And so, of course, I mean, I did go and look at it. I was like, first of all, Magellanic cluster, that must be in the Southern Hemisphere. Did he go to the Southern Hemisphere? But it didn't look like it. But it's not the point, okay?
Okay, so I was going to ask you that. Is the song accurate when he talks? Because he does specifically mention something that he sees in the sky with a telescope.
Probably not. Okay.
Fine.
So
poetic license.
But that's the whole point. Like, but I did wanted to check. I was like, okay, so it says System 611, so that's not how the names are given. And he also says 50 million stars, a billion light years wide. That would be really like very shallow, like not very dense cluster, because a billion light years, even our Milky Way is about 100,000 light years across, roughly.
Yeah.
So, no, but that's not the point, because the song itself is about sort of like,
About heartbreak.
it's heartbreak, and it's about what truth is. So there is a lot of conversation about, and that's where the science connection to a certain degree comes in, what truth means. But ultimately, your feeling of love, I mean, where love is truth and things like that. So just check it out, because I don't want, I mean, I even had written a few of the lines from it, but I don't want to say those things because he sings it so beautifully. And there is also an acoustic version that is available on YouTube. Just listen to it again.
And you can see him probably do that very song this Saturday at the Arcadia Folk Festival in East Hampton. Josh Ritter.
And when he does, just shout out, "Woo, astronomy!"
Or you got it wrong. Or, actually, no, don't shout.
No, it's a beautiful song. It has absolutely zero bearing on, like, whether the system exists or not, because I think this song is more true than astronomy.
Wow, how about that? Well, one thing that is true in astronomy that we missed because we were off last week is in our closest, our nearest star system, besides the sun, some very exciting news.
Right. So the closest star system is the Centauri star system, and there is Alpha Centauri, which is basically there are two stars orbiting each other closely. Those are sun-like stars, and they have always been of interest to us because they are only 4 light years away, meaning to say light takes 4 years to get to us. So no, they're not very close, but still.
But still, wicked close compared to most stars. Even our sun takes 8 to 9 minutes for its light to hit us.
That is correct.
And this is 4 years. So much farther, but still much closer than anywhere else.
Yeah, even the center of our galaxy is about 30,000 light years away. So this is, so if or when, however you want to think about your mood and how optimistic you are. So if or when humans are going to do interstellar travel, Centauri star system is probably going to be the first one, especially if there are planets around it. So people have been looking for planets. As we know, so far, astronomers have detected over 5,000 planets, and detecting planets is difficult. You are looking for a faint object right next to a very bright star. You have to have the right orientation and various methods and so on and so forth. People weren't sure initially that whether binary stars would have could have planets or not, but now we know that they can. But this system is interesting because it's not just a binary, but there is a third star that is also orbiting there, which is Proxima Centauri, but it actually orbits around the other 2 stars. And that is a much smaller star than our sun. It's a red dwarf. And so far we know that there are 3 planets that orbit around Proxima Centauri. But for life purposes, which oftentimes we are interested, can there be life or not? Well, the problem with that is that those small stars have a lot more magnetic activity, they have a lot more flares, and probably not the best place for potential life. But sun-like stars, because we know at least one sun-like star has not just life, but kind of intelligent life, but sort of like, but it's there. So we are much more interested in that. So there has been a search for that. And so far, astronomers had not found a confirmed planet around the 2 sun-like stars that are part of the Centauri system until now. And this is actually interesting. James Webb Space Telescope, we keep on talking about that. It's actually designed, apart from looking at galaxies, some of the farthest objects in the universe, it is also specifically designed to look for planets. And one of the techniques that it uses is basically it blocks the light of the star. So it's called a coronagraph. It's like creating your own eclipse. Mm-hmm. And so it blocks the light of the star and then looks for sort of like, is there a planet nearby or not? It's pretty hard to know what it sees in it, right next to it, what that would be. But in August 2024, one of the stars around it, Centauri, Centauri A, with capital A, they found a dot next to it. And it looked like potentially is a planet. But here is the thing about astronomy. Just because there is something right next to a star, you don't know. If you just take a picture, whether this is some really far away galaxy that you are picking up and that happens to be right next to the star, or maybe an asteroid which is in front, meaning to say much closer to us, and it just happens to be next to us or not. So they actually astronomers have been very careful. So this is again one of those things that, hey, what is this? I don't understand what it is. It must be a UFO. That's not how things work.
They did not jump to the UFO conclusion. They didn't even jump to the planet conclusion. So they said, maybe it's a planet.
And so then they actually looked for sort of like any ways that they could get rid of this thing, because that's how science works. Like, can we explain this in any other way? They could not. Then they did actually repeat observation. So this planet, they were trying to look back again, and they actually did not find it. They tried to look at it in February of 2025, and then again later on, early this year. They did not find that. And so they were puzzled by it. That's why they sort of like, published this paper after a little bit, after checking other things. And what they are saying, the astronomers are saying right now, is that most likely it's a planet, but with an elliptical orbit. That when they observed it in August of 2024, it was farther away, and now it is probably much more closer to the star, and it is in its glare that they cannot, even with a chronograph, they cannot actually detect it. But they ran various models to figure out how do you explain that earlier observations, and pretty much the model suggests that this is a planet the size of Saturn, or sort of like, a mass of Saturn, size a little bit bigger than that of Jupiter. And they think that it is probably in the habitable zone of this star. So it's about 1 to 2 times the distance of Earth from the distance that is between the Earth and the Sun. So Earth is in the habitable zone, meaning to say that water can exist in liquid form. This is a bigger planet, probably the size of Saturn, so probably it's a gaseous planet, but we don't know. And even if the planet may be gaseous, its moons, at least in our solar system, all big planets have a lot of moons. So just like Jupiter has Europa or Ganymede and others that have oceans around it, but those are under ice. If you are in the habitable zone, you can have moons with oceans on the surface. So it all provides an interesting, tantalizing thing, and but we will have to wait for it to be detected again. And so now astronomers are predicting, okay, if its orbit is elliptical, then you would expect it to go back to that thing within a year or so, depending upon what its orbit is.
Its year, depending on its year. You can't just expect it to be in August on Earth every year, because it's got its own year.
Unless its orbit is like the Earth. I mean, and it could be, right, yeah.
Which is what makes complications in all of the sci-fi, by the way. Like, anytime Star Wars talks about years, I'm like, the year on what planet?
That's right. But in this one, there's the other complication is you have another star that is close by, and so that also can be, and I mean, that star is not that far from it, so it also creates, but this is a great example of, first of all, a really exciting discovery. I mean, having a planet and having in the habitable zone around a sun-like star, and it happens to be the closest stars that we have. That is exciting. But then how do you keep on testing it? And so it's not 100% sure that the planet has been discovered around Alpha Centauri, but probably. And it's going to be, again, through James Webb Space Telescope, looking in the infrared, which is its key light that it looks at. And so hopefully we'll find out in the next year or two when the planet is in the outer part, whether that's a confirmed discovery or not, because that would be the best way to discover it. It goes back out, you detect it again. So no, it's not a background galaxy, or no, it's not a foreground asteroid, because it's a particular orbit predicted by models.
And what's really, really cool, the potential being that it is so close, only 4 light years away, that if it wasn't in the habitable zone, and if there was intelligent life there, we could send a message in 2025, which would reach them by 2029, and then have a return message by 2033.
Right, and those scenarios have been brought up in various science fiction also. If you are interested in reading a really thoughtful science fiction book that was about Mary Doria Russell, it was called The Sparrow. It came out in late 1990s, and it was about the premises that humans have just discovered basically signal coming from Centauri star system, but those are just songs. And that's all. I mean, they're not. It's directed.
Josh Ritter song.
They're just songs, and so humans actually. So that scenario was, I think, around mid 2020s when in the book, and so it starts with a priest that has just come back from a mission to Alpha Centauri around 2050s, and the reason why a priest has come back is because the first mission to the Centauri star system was by Jesuits who decide, like, that, okay, we have to give them the message of God. And so there is the protagonist, there is a lot of discussion about science and religion. The book is written by an anthropologist, Mary Doria Russell. So it's actually a really nice book.
And the name of the book one more time?
The Sparrow, but don't worry about how they get there, because that's where the science was bad. But oftentimes, hard science fiction is good with science, but terrible with culture context.
Yeah.
The Sparrow is fantastic with the culture context. Spoiler, which I've already given. Yes, there was life over there, intelligent life around the Centauri star system, but then it gets really interesting. Brad Pitt was supposed to play, still maybe, supposed to play the priest. It has been commissioned, that movie, for several years, but it hasn't been made. I think it would be a really cool film, but I beg you, do not read the sequel that came out after that. It was called The Children of God, and it's one of those sequels that retroactively made the first book bad. It's like time travel. Like, no, the Sparrow is fantastic, and The Children of God, okay, is awful. I'll just say it. If Mary Doria Russell is listening to it, I apologize. But that, and what really upset me was because it made The Sparrow bad. So yes, do read The Sparrow. Skip. Just imagine there was no sequel to that.
Before we let you go, Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hameed from Kainaat Studios, we'll do a little teaser because you have something with Kainaat Studios that is big, that is coming up for 6 billion people in the world shortly. Kainaat is presenting an eclipse.
So there is a lunar eclipse that is happening in pretty much the rest of the world, except for the Americas. It's on September 7th and 8th, the night of for people who would be able to see the moon. It will be, the totality of the eclipse will be visible all the way from Japan to half of Africa, to the Eastern Africa.
But not here.
And not here. And it includes all of Asia, Australia, so parts of Europe as well. So the totality will be visible to 6 billion people. And we decided to create resources and a website with the theme of Eclipse in a Shared Sky. In fact, our website is eclipseinaoursharedsky.com. Go over there. It's already there. We have some videos talking about timings and the basics of the eclipse there. There'll be more stuff added in this coming week, including activities for school kids that people can do. Our main theme is that 6 billion people, one eclipse. It's about thinking about the moon and the role it plays. So we have talked about the ethical issues about the moon colonization or going to the moon as well. So this is also an opportunity to do that. But what we are focusing on is the global south. A lot of this eclipse is going to cover the global south. And so instead of being focused on the US, which is often happens, especially with NASA. This is English language stuff, and also oftentimes relatively dry, like sort of like, here is the information. The material that we have created is, of course, from South Asia. So, of course, there are a lot of colors in it. We have to. Our animations also have the local cultural context, but we also are bringing in mythologies, for example, from South Africa. We have collaborators over there, and also from China, Chinese mythology as well, especially in terms of when the moon turns copper, or sort of like, copper color. We have collaborators in India. In fact, one of our collaborators, they really focuses on sort of like calling the moon copper moon rather than blood moon, and I love that bit. Yeah. So we are doing that. But this website is right now available in English. All the videos are in English as well, with, of course, South Asian accent. And but it's also available in Urdu and Hindi. So the text is there, but also the videos, because we can all speak Urdu, which is also understood as Hindi as well. So those are also available in Urdu and Hindi. In fact, one of our co-hosts is from India. So it's all a mix. So English, Urdu, and Hindi, but we are also planning on expanding it to Chinese as well. We are working on that. But this is just the beginning. We are trying to create a foundation for having conversations about space and astronomy, to building curiosity about the world. And and curiosity is the key to thinking about science and other things in other languages for audience that doesn't generally gets the full attention. But we are centering the global south in this stuff. So just check it out. And we are just making stuff as we go along. But this is a great opportunity. This is just one of the eclipses. Eclipses, as it turns out, happen relatively,
Especially lunar eclipse.
lunar eclipses happen relatively frequently. So, but we are using this opportunity to bring attention to, that we all share the same sky. These boundaries don't exist up there, and just look around.
And that website, one more time, is eclipseinoursharedsky.com. Thank you, Mr. Universe.
Thank you. A pleasure. And we'll talk more about it as the time comes close.